welcome to day 3 of Litmas! And today's episode is obviously filmed on my webcam today because we're going to be doing some computery stuff and looking at what is on my Christmas wish list because it's about me. So every year my family and I put together an Amazon wish list. Not that we really want to buy from Amazon, it's just an easy way to put everything that we want on the wish list, and then you can buy them from other places that aren't, Amazon and all the problems that come with Amazon. But I digress. Last year I was forced to put only 10 books on that wish list. I have not agreed to anything this year of that sort, but I did not put the entirety of all the books that I want. I have put a select few that I really, really, really want, and those are on the list along with a few other things. So I thought I would just share with you guys what I am hoping to get this year and see what happens afterwards and if my family comes through. Just a few ideas, and maybe some of these are things like, oh yeah, maybe I want that, and you can put it on your own wish list and stuff. But yeah, silly Christmas wish list video, yay! Welcome to my Amazon Christmas wish list. So I have, it's not organized in any real way. I have a few, like, I want some new video equipment, so I wanted it with like a new HD camcorder, because my little camera that I use is this little guy. This is a Canon PowerShot SX730HS, which does not film in HD. It's very good for pictures, and I love the little flip out screen and everything for it, but it isn't really what I need going forward with all the projects I have in mind, so I want to upgrade. I don't expect my family to actually buy me one, but it'd be nice. This is also / the saving money to get things that I want. And also a new tripod because mine is collapsing. This is another little inspiration guy here. So this is just my, a desk that I'm interested in. Let's actually click it. So I wanted to build my own desk this year, and that really didn't happen. But I have built some parts because I'd like to make a corner desk in my windows there. And I wanted one with storage and stuff. So this is similar to something I'd like to build, but just in case my family wants to invest in that, I don't think they will, but that is okay. Something that my family probably would be interested in grabbing for me, because they're not expensive, are some new dice. I just love the color scheme of these. This is very much the type of dice that I would like. They have a bunch of different ones here on this little Amazon. I like these ones too, but I'm like, they're not going to show up on camera. I wanted these ones first, but then I saw these ones and I was like, I love that. And here's one of the books that I put on here is Atlas 6. The Atlas 6, I've heard so many amazing things about this book. I'm dying to read this one. So this is an Alexandrian society, caretakers of lost knowledge from the greatest civilizations of antiquity and the foremost secret society of magical academicians. I can't say words. In the world, those who earn a place among the Alexandrians will secure a life of wealth, power, and prestige beyond their wildest dreams. And each decade, only the 6 most uniquely talented magicians are selected to be considered for initiation. So enter the latest round of 6. So we have 6 different characters who all have different kind of traits and stuff, and they're going to be trying to get in. I've just heard amazing things, and I really, really, really want to read this. It sounds so cool. And it deals with, like, Library of Alexandria, which is, like, for any book lover and stuff, it's a thing. Some of these will be on tomorrow's video as well for a different Christmassy thing. But anyway, this one's a chair, because this chair is not great. It could be better. And Chris definitely misses being able to sit on top of my chair, so I wanted to get another good padded seat chair. I also, because of my diet and stuff, don't want to fry things in oil and stuff anymore, so I want an air fryer. Again, I don't expect my family to get me this, but I want one. Another book I would really like is Much Ado About Mean Girls, which is basically the script of Mean Girls, but translated into Shakespearean language. They also apparently have come out with The Taming of the Clueless and Get Thee Back to the Future, and I'm like, I need all of these so bad. Like, I need them so, so bad. One that I want is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I have a different Kazuo Ishiguro book, but this one is their latest release, and I've heard, again, amazing things about it. It's the story of Clara, an artificial friend with outstanding observational qualities, who from her place in the store watches carefully the behavior of those who come in to browse and of those who pass on the street outside. She remains hopeful that a customer will soon choose her. Clara and the Sun is a thrilling book that offers a look at our changing world through the eyes of an unforgettable narrator, and one that explores the fundamental question, what does it mean to love? So Kazuo Ishiguro is a very insightful writer. That it's more literary stuff, but I really want to read this one. It looks really, really good. Moving forward is a bookbinding kit. So this is kind of going into a 2022 goal that I have in mind, and that's learning kind of how to bookbind. And I'm like, hey, here's a little beginner kit for it to help me learn more about this stuff. But yeah, I'd like a bookbinding kit because I want to transform some of my paperbacks into hardcovers and learn how to bookbind. You know, it's a skill. It's a skill I want. These next ones I'm not going to go over too much because they're just basic. It's a wrist pad. There's seat cushions. This is just a wireless remote control for electric outlets because I have extension cords, but reach down and unplug things and stuff, and I want to do something much easier. This is just a knee cushion. This is a fun little lamp. It's dimmable. You can touch it and change color of it. I like color lamps and things, so it's a lamp. As we all know, in my room, I need better lighting. Not that that's going to provide it. I need just some new bed sheets, you know, some new cooling bed sheets. My mom usually always gets bed sheets for everybody, so thought I'd make it easier. This I'm going to go over in tomorrow's video, so don't worry about that. And then we get into more of the book list. So we have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I really want to get into the Mistborn series. So there's one. I would like the Memory Police is a kind of, not a classic, but it's popular and insightful. I have a lot, and it's a translated book, so I like reading books by Japanese authors. If you didn't know that about me, I don't know how you wouldn't, unless you're brand new to this channel. Hi. Nihongo hanashimasu. Nihongo ga daisuki desu. There's this fancy version of Chronicles of Narnia. I've never actually completed the Chronicles of Narnia, but this is a beautiful version of it, and I would like this fancy one specifically. Then I have the continuation of the Ace of Shades book because I've really enjoyed reading the first book. It's the only one I own, so this is the sequel and the third book. I'd love to complete the trilogy because I really did enjoyed it. It was a surprise of a read for me. I thought it was going to be kind of bland, but I found that I really, really enjoyed it, so those two are on the list. We're also going into Jade City by Fonda Lee, and again, another one that I've heard really amazing stuff. So Jade is the lifeblood of the island of Kekon. It has been mined, traded, stolen, and killed for centuries. Honorable Greenbone warriors like the Cow family have used it to enhance their magical abilities and defend the island from foreign invasion. Now the war is over, and a new generation of Cows vies for the control of Kekon's bustling capital city. They care about nothing but protecting their own, cornering the jade market, and defending the districts under their protection. Ancient tradition has little place in this rapidly changing nation. When a powerful new drug emerges that lets anyone, even foreigners, wield jade, the simmering tension between the Cows and the rival Ait family, I don't know if that's how you say that, erupts into open violence. The outcome of this clan will determine the fate of all the Greenbones and of Kekon itself. So I like big, epic stories. Next is I want a fancy copy of Les Mis. Nothing else really to say about that. So the next book is Electric Kingdom by David Arnold, another big hype book that I've heard about. When a deadly fly flu sweeps the globe, it leaves a shell of the world that once was. Among the survivors are 18-year-old Nico and her dog. And I have checked, and nothing bad happens to the dog, apparently. So it stays on the list. That was really the criteria for a lot of what when I pick books. Is the dog okay? They're on a voyage devised by Nico's father to find a mythical portal, a young artist named Kit raised in an old abandoned cinema, and the enigmatic deliverer who lives life after life in an attempt to put the world back together. As swarms of infected flies roam the earth, these few survivors navigate the woods of post-apocalyptic New England, meeting others along the way, each on their own quest to find life and love in a world gone dark. So it's kind of apocalyptic and fun and deals with a plague, so relatable. Next up is Winterkeep, which is the 4th new book in the Graceling realm, because I love the Graceling trilogy. I am super nervous about this, and we do continue Bitter Blue's story, which I wasn't a huge fan of Bitter Blue. I personally liked Fire the best, and Graceling, very, very close. Very, like, minuscule amount of difference between how I like them. But I did like Fire the best, but Bitter Blue didn't hit me as hard as those first 2 books did, so I'm a little worried about going into this, but I would like a copy of Winterkeep. Next up is The Heiress, The Revelations of Anne de Bourgh. This is a Pride and Prejudice novel dealing with Anne de Bourgh. I love Pride and Prejudice retellings, especially exploring further into all of the other characters in Pride and Prejudice. So this is the author who wrote The Calligraphy Man's Wife, which explores Charlotte Lucas's story, which I do have on my shelf and I'm ready to read. So I'm excited to continue reading about it and reading about Anne de Bourgh. I really want a bunch. I would love to read one for Mariah Lucas and for Mary King. I'd really like to read a story about Mary King, just any of the female characters that we meet in Pride and Prejudice, like Kitty Bennett. Kitty Bennett never really gets her own story that I find, and I'd really like to see one for her. So if you know any really good Pride and Prejudice retellings that involve the other characters and stuff, or just a good retelling of the story, let me know. I'll probably read it. Next up is Master of One. And this story, I almost got my hands on it this year, and then things fell through and I didn't get a copy of it. But it's gallows humor, sinister sorcery, a queer romance so glorious it could be right out of the Fey legend itself. Master of One is a fantasy unlike any other. So we have a bunch of different people here. Distractingly handsome Fey prince, 2 honorable Queensguard deserter, a scrappy daughter of a disgraced noble family, a deceptively sweet-natured prince, a bona fide member of the resistance, and Rags. So any story that has like a good collection of different characters, because I'm a very character-driven writer and reader, I'm gonna read. All right, I promise we'll go a little faster. I have too many books. I have about 30 books on this list. This is The Last Graduate, which is the sequel to A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, which I really, really liked. It has mixed reviews. It's not for everybody, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I really want to read the sequel. The only downside is that I can't find like a matching copy, because my copy was like a special Owl Crate pre-order, I believe, and they didn't make a second edition or not edition, but the sequel didn't get the same treatment, and so it's like, oh, it's not gonna match. But next up, see, this isn't actually available on Amazon, but it's fine. It's Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which I've heard amazing things about this book. I own the 4th book because I didn't realize it was part of a series when I got it. And then I was like, oh, I can't read this yet because it's the 4th book, which is Labyrinth of Spirits, because it was a beautiful book and it looked amazing and cool. But it's a translated book for one, and it is just apparently a very lyrical read, and I thoroughly enjoy those types of books. Then we have Way of Kings, book 1 of Stormlight. I don't really know much about it. It's just Brandon Sanderson. These are huge books and stuff, and I would like to read it. I'd like to get into more Brandon Sanderson novels, even though this cover violates one of my rules, one of my things that I hate about covers, and that is the author name being bigger than the title. I'm not a fan of that, so if there's a different edition of this book that doesn't look like that, I will happily prefer that one. Oh, I hate when they're like that. Next up, we have The Magnolia Sword. So The Magnolia Sword by Sherry Thomas is a Mulan retelling, and I'm thoroughly here for it. In this story, Mulan has a brother who is a kid, so she then changes spots with him to be her brother, basically, and protect him, and it goes on with the Mulan story. And we have The Mirror Season by Anna Marie McLemore. Anna Marie McLemore is like one of my auto-buy authors. I will read everything by her. She does magical realism, and there is always some kind of queer representation in them. Usually trans representation tends to be where she goes. It's usually trans, queer, and Latinx characters that she mostly involves with, and I just think her writing is absolutely gorgeous, and I will read it. I don't even know what this one's about. I don't care what it's about. It's Anna Marie McLemore. I'm going to read it. That's all I know. So if you want to pause and read what it's about, I don't want to know. I don't even want to know going into it. I just want to read it and love it for what it is. Next book is The Initial Insult by Mindy McGinnis, which I read Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis, and I don't know if she's going to be an auto-buy author for me, but I loved the writing in Female of the Species, so this I am curious about. I have a few other books by her that I want to read, but I definitely want this one. Originally I got worried because it looked like it was going to be a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but not quite. So we have Tress and Felicity, and something happened between their families. Tress Montour's family used to mean something until she didn't have a family anymore when her parents disappeared 7 years ago while driving her best friend home. Tress lost everything. The entire town shuns her now that she lives with her drunken, one-eyed grandfather at what locals refer to as the White Trash Zoo. Felicity Tornado has it all: looks, money, and a secret. One misstep could send her tumbling from the top of the social ladder, and she's worked hard to make sure everyone forgets that she was with the Montours the night they disappeared. Felicity has buried what she knows so deeply that she can't even remember what it is, only that she can't look at Tress without feeling shame and guilt. So this is the story between them and how things went topsy-turvy and the plot to learn the truth. Next up is Out of Character by Annabeth Albert, which is a companion novel to Conventionally Yours, which I absolutely adored. So this involves not a new character, but one of the characters, Jasper, who was in that as kind of a side character, and now we get to see Jasper's story, but it is about nerd. Conventionally Yours was really, really cute and had really fun representation and stuff, and I really liked it, so I really want to read the sequel, which again, this one has ex-best friends falling in love, which kind of an enemies to lovers trope, but there's gaming, there's nerd culture, and it's very, very fun as far as I can see, so I would like to read it. Next up is The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. I love the Grishaverse very much, before it was even Shadow and Bone, you know. But I want to read The Lives of Saints. It's just another companion with little history into the Grisha world, and I'm ready for it. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing. What can I say? This next book was actually on my list last year and nobody bought it for me, and I was really upset. So Ever After is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is a comfort movie for me. Even though it's a mass market paperback, which I don't usually like to own, I do want to read a novelization of this movie because it's such a good movie and I love it so much. I don't care how historically inaccurate it is. It's cute. And the best Cinderella retelling of all time. Hands down, fight me. Next up with the contemporary romance stuff is Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. This is the third book in this kind of Renaissance fair love series rom-coms, and I adore these books because I do love Ren fairs and stuff, and this is about a little small town one, and now we get the third book. It's the third and final one, I think, which is really, really sad, but it involves Mitch, who is hilarious, and the sister of Emily, who is the first character in Well Met, which is that one. Sequel is Well Played, which features her friend that she meets at the Ren Fair, and now this one is going to be with April, who is Emily's sister and is also a single mother and stuff, and Mitch is like the gym teacher around, but he's like the guy everybody ogles at in a kilt during the Ren Fair, and it's really cute, and they're gonna do a fake dating thing, so it's cute, and I really, really want to read it. It's already out, and I just am dying to read this because they're such cute rom-coms, okay? I'm a sucker for rom-coms. Not all of them, though. I'm actually very picky about my rom-coms, but the ones that I do love, I love wholeheartedly. Next up is My Contrary Mary, which is the next book in the series from the Lady Janies, Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Joni Meadows. And this we go back into the realm of My Lady Jane with Mary, Queen of Scots. And My Lady Jane was so funny. It just combines this historical fiction with some fantasy and very modern humor that just makes this a very laugh out loud and addictive series. So I really, 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 really want to read this book so bad. It's going to be fun, and that's what I need from reading sometimes. Next up is Aurora's End. Now, there is a chance I could get this before Christmas. There is a slight chance because I've entered a couple giveaways for it, but I recently read Aurora Burning, and while it wasn't my favorite so far of the trilogy, that cliffhanger was rude, and I need this. Also, Finn is on the cover, my boy. So I need it. I just need it. I won't tell you what everything is going on in this book because it would be major spoilers, but I do thoroughly enjoy Aurora Rising. I'm not a huge fan of Jay Kristoff himself, but I do like Amy Kaufman. But when they do team up, they do tend to create really, really good series like Illuminae, if you haven't read that already. But I thoroughly enjoy this series so much, and I need to know how this ends. I am terrified. So we have another Anna Marie McLemore book, which is called Lake Lore. Again, I don't care what it's about. It's Anna Marie McLemore. It's her magical realism, and I just want to read it. But look at this look at the cover on it. It's so gorgeous. How could you not want to read anything? I love what she does. There's only one more book left on my shelves that I haven't read by her, and I'm always like needing the next Anna Marie McLemore right after I finish one. They're just beautiful, beautiful stories, and I'm jealous of her writing capabilities. Next up is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is another epic fantasy, and like Samantha Shannon, who wrote Prior to the Orange Tree, one of my favorite books, blurbs this, and it is just another heavily Asian-inspired historical fantasy stuff, and I'm here for it. I just find I really like gigantic books with Asian historical and fantasy. That's like one of the genres that if you say those buzzwords at me, I will grab it and I don't care. I will just pick it up. Next up is Bones of Ruin by Sarah Roffley, which I have been reading her Effigies trilogy and I thoroughly enjoy it, so I am all excited about this. This deals with an African tightrope walker who cannot die and is in the middle, I think, of the Great London Fire, and like possibly like assassins and things are happening, but I'm living for the cover, for one. I mean, I'm a cover snob, and I just absolutely love this. I can't wait to read this. Just the entire concept of this is amazing, and I'm ready for it. The last item and book on my Christmas wish list is Iron Widow by Shirang J. Zhao. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I tried. But this says Pacific Rim meets The Handmaid's Tale in Chinese history and mecha science, so epic fantasy historical Asian. I'm in it. I'm here. And I saw Illumicrate did this beautiful edition of it, and I'm just mad that I don't have Illumicrate and am poor. So if anybody has an Illumicrate copy they want to send to me. I have noticed that when we go back onto this, like, look at these. These all look very similar color scheme. When I was first creating this list, like, these were the first three that came into my brain. So can you see a trend of what color schemes I'm attracted to? There you guys go. That's my Christmas wish list. I'm gonna hope and see what happens for Christmas. I know I'm very privileged to be able to be in a position where I can make this, and my family will like me, get me a thing or two off of it. So if I hope that whatever holidays you guys are celebrating this year, that you have a wonderful time no matter what. Even if my family doesn't get me anything on this list, I'm sure it'll be a great time. But that's just the kind of things that I'm like, ooh, if someone could get me that, that'd be super awesome. But yeah, so if you want to check it out, I will post a link in the description to the wish list itself. If you want to add things to your wish list, or for some reason want to buy me something off it, I don't mind. Let me know what things you want on your Christmas wish list. What books are you wanting to get for Christmas this year, or for any other holiday that you celebrate? Sorry, I'm Christmas centric. I don't mean to be, but whatever holidays you'll be celebrating, if you're celebrating anything that does involve gift giving, what books or items do you want the most? Let me know in the comments below, or on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter, and I will see you next time, cuties. Bye! My little I didn't really like Blitter Blue sequel to A Deadly Education by Nemo. Is this compelling content? I don't know.